Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. I am Moshe the Commentator, or known as Millennial Commentator 337, however you want to perceive me. I'm your host, Millennial Commentator, and I got another presentation for y'all. As you see, the title is called Most Proletariats Will Not Live a Good Life in American Society. Now, for those who don't know what a proletariat is, it's just basically a fancy word for the working class, which make up the majority of American society. But we know most pros do the jobs that most people look down on, like people that work in fast food, service industry, customer service, retail industries. They would be considered proletariats. You got tradesmen, you got career workers, but most jobs that don't pay a good livable wage is the type of jobs that proletariats work. And we know most proletariats, they are living paycheck to paycheck. They can't even afford to go on vacation. They can't even afford to fill out the whole shopping cart, fill up the whole shopping cart. You know, they are barely getting by. Most people in the society is one paycheck away from being homeless or on the street. And we're gonna keep it a buck. We see a lot of people living in their vehicles, living in their vans. They don't want to, van life is not fun. You see, you got these content creators, these influencers on social media. They want to make it seem like it's all glamorous to live in your van. And I admit, some of them they fix their vans up nice. I mean, they turn their vans into a mini RV. But let's keep it a buck. The majority of people would rather have a roof over their head, whether it's an apartment, a house, you know, a roof, with running water, with working utilities, compared to living on the street or in the van. But we're going to get to the talking points in the presentation. So let's get to it. It's called The Miserable Future of the American Proletariat. Intro. The illusion of the American dream. Yes, it is. The American dream is a big illusion. Once upon a time, America sold a dream that if you work hard enough, you could make it. But as decades pass, that dream has become a carrot on a stick, dangling just out of reach for millions. Today, the American proletariat, the working class, stands on the edge of a bleak future, a future where hard work is no longer a path to success, but a sentence to survival. Visual. Pretend you see rusting factories, empty shopping malls, and fast food workers under fluorescent lights. Contrast image, old 1950s propaganda poster promising prosperity. The American dream has become a corporate illusion. Productivity is up, wages are down. The promise of social mobility is dying, replaced with debt, burnout, and economic stagnation. Boom! Those three things, debt, burnout, and economic stagnation. That's what you see a lot of millennials in GC talking about. You got Generation Z, which is the youngsters. You got the millennials, the 80s babies and 90s babies. They are talking about they burned out. They paying a lot of debt. And the economy is not doing too good. Don't be deceived by these buffoons out there that saying, oh, the economy is okay. No, it's not. You got a lot of people burned out, they in debt. A lot of people can't even find jobs. Even you got people so desperate for jobs, they would rather do a proletariat job. They can't, even those type of jobs ain't hiring. You got to go through, fill out a lot of applications, and you still may get rejected. And then you got AI reviewing application these days. So it's going to be way more difficult to get a job. That's all you see. You see people on this platform, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, talking about they filling out 50 applications, 200 applications, and they still ain't getting the job. They still getting rejected. They'd be lucky to get one interview. All right, let's get to section one, the economic trap. Let's start with the obvious, money, or rather the lack of it. The average worker today earns less in real terms than they did decades ago, even as the cost of living skyrockets. That is totally true. Some of these jobs are paying $10 an hour, $15 an hour, and that's barely getting by. Some people, that's not enough for some people in certain states. In certain states, the national minimum wage is still 750. That's not nothing. You can't live off of 750 an hour. You know, I think they should. I think the national, in this day and age, the national minimum wage should be at least 20 to $25 an hour. But we know that's not going to happen because these greedy corporations that is ran by these evil individuals or entities, however you want to perceive them as, they're gonna they thrive off of the proletariat suffering. These entities that run these companies, all these corporation owners, they thrive off of the pain, misery, and suffering of the proletariat. They thrive off of that negative energy. You know, it's a spiritual warfare. You know, if you want to go to that level. But let's get to the talking points. Wage stagnation. Median wages haven't kept pace with inflation or productivity since the 1970s. Shoo, that's a man, since the 1970s, median wages haven't kept pace with inflation. So inflation been going on, folks. Inflation been going on. Every dollar stretches dinner, rent, groceries, healthcare, childcare, rent, groceries, healthcare, childcare. You got a lot of people struggling just to make ends meet. They struggling to pay rent. They can't even get a full haul of groceries. They gotta be selective what they buy in the grocery store. And if you don't have health care insurance, you doomed. You're gonna be paying high hospital bills, child care like daycare. And that's just to show you, think about the proletariats, they got families. Think about the people that have families. They got, the wife, the children. Sometimes they gotta bring their child to child care, the daycare. And that costs, that add up to the bills. Part two, cost of living crisis. Housing prices and rent have exploded beyond affordability. Yes, it has. You got some of these apartments, 1,800 just for one bedroom, 1,500 for one bedroom. You know, almost 2 grand for a 2 bedroom. So you can imagine some of these high quality apartments for 3 bedrooms. You're gonna be coughing up at least a couple of grand. That's a mortgage price right there. That's a mortgage price. And you in some cities, you got people paying $2,000 for a studio apartment. That's an insult. That's an insult. $2,000 for a studio apartment. Man, get the hell out of here, man. That's I tell you, that's how you know these slumlords or landlords, you call them slumlords, they thrive off of the misery of the proletariat, just like these corporations do. Healthcare is tied to employment, trapping workers in miserable jobs. Exactly. Now, that's one thing about some of these proletariat type of jobs. They offer benefits. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing, you know, and it's a trap. It trap people into these jobs, a dead end job. But let's keep it a buck. A lot of proletariats are working dead end jobs, and that's the whole working class as a whole. They are stuck at jobs they hate. You know, the average American hates their job. If you could get in a room of 100 working Americans, put them in a room, at least 85% of them gonna say they hate their job. It might be higher, so I'm just being reasonable. At least 85% of them gonna say they hate their job, and the other percent of them gonna say they like their job. Because maybe they like what they do. They probably in a certain field they like to do. But most people, they hate their job. Let's keep it a buck. Higher education leads to lifelong debt. not better opportunity. Yep, that is true. For all the college people out there that want to say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna get my degree, my master's, my bachelor's." You have a lot of people with these big title degrees, working at retail, working at grocery stores, working at fast food. Some of these fast food managers, they got degrees. They got like a bachelor's, a master's degree. They in charge of people flipping burgers. And they gotta pay off all that student loan debt. So it's like another trap. It's another trap. Higher education does leads to a lifelong debt, not a better opportunity because you got people that got the credentials. Say if they got the degrees, they went to college, they still can't get an entry level job because they're gonna come with the nonsense, oh, you're overqualified. They're gonna reject them. Talking about they overqualified. What's the whole point of somebody going to college if you ain't, once upon a time when people went to college, they expect to have a job lined up for them. Not these days. They gotta fight. They gotta fight against all the other people that's applying on them jobs. And then don't forget about nepotism. You have a lot of people with the education, they got the credentials, but they will get shafted. They will get shafted by these hiring managers, and these hiring managers will hire somebody that they know in their family or one of the partner homeboys or homegirls, nepotism. Nepotism is king when it comes to these job applications. Nepotism will negate all your credentials. I don't care if you have a higher education, you have a lot of experience, nepotism will negate all that. So that's something to think about. Part three, the modern serfdom. Millions work multiple jobs and still live paycheck to paycheck. There's no time, no savings, no safety net, just survival. The worker's dream is now. I hope I don't get sick. That is true. Millions of proletariats out there in the society, they have no time to do anything in life. They can't even live like I said before. Most people are surviving life. They're not living life. Most people in modern society, they are surviving life. They're not living life. You want to know who living life? Those who can afford to go on vacation at least once or twice a year. Those who got high paying jobs, those who could pay a new car note, those who could own a house and keep paying the mortgages successfully. They live in life. They not surviving. Those who are struggling paycheck to paycheck, they survive, you know, because most proletariats, they are one paycheck away from being homeless. And that is true. You can't afford to get sick. If your job don't cover sick days, if you don't have benefits, like protective PTO, which is paid time off, or sick leave, like some companies call it sick leave, you screwed. You got to go to work, man, in pain, coughing, and some of these employers, they so wicked. If you they won't even accept a doctor excuse. If you come with a doctor excuse, they won't even accept it. They will still penalize you. They will still penalize you. They might give you a point, because some employees they got the point system. Like if you get up to 5 points, you're terminated. Like it was 5 points of absence or tardy, and y'all forbid if you don't show up on a holiday or a pagan day, they give you 2 points or 4 points. Some of these companies, you know. Now, in my opinion, I think these jobs they should always close on these holidays, whether you observe them or not, whether you observe these holidays or not. But that's a whole nother topic right there, because these holidays don't make any sense. It's just that's another energy harvesting ploy. These pagan holidays, that's just another ploy to harvest people energy. Well, that's a whole nother topic for another stream. But let's continue. Talking point number two, the corporate machine. The modern workplace isn't just a job, it's a system of control. The proletariat is no longer just a worker, they're a data point and a profit algorithm. Talking points. Corporate feudalism. A few mega corporations dominated nearly every industry. Workers serve faceless CEOs and shareholders. Even small businesses are crushed under monopolies like Amazon and Walmart. That is true. These big corporate giants like Amazon, Walmart, Target, They are the destroyers of small business. Think about it in your town or city, these mom and pop stores. You know, back in the day, you had the mom and pop stores. They used to take care of the whole town or the whole city. You know, if you had a small town, everybody went to that mom and pop spot, whether it was a department store, whether it was like a diner or like a drive-through diner or something. That was the whole bread and butter of the community. It brought people together. Some people met their significant other at a mom and pop spot. But those days are over with because you got these corporate giants taking over and destroying these mom and pop businesses. Part two, surveillance capitalism. Productivity software tracks every click, keystroke, and bathroom break. Say what? That is true. So you mean to tell me these workers are being gang stalked by their own employers? Employers. Productivity software tracks every click, keystroke, and bathroom break. How they do that? You see, some of these companies, what they do, they have an app. You got a workplace app you download. Say if you're working for Target or Amazon, they probably make you download a certain app on your phone, and it clocks in all your hours, all your productivity. You know, it probably tracks all your steps, but they just ain't gonna tell you that. So you basically you being watched. It's a tracking device. You're being gang stalked by your own job. It's crazy. It's crazy out there in these employer streets. It's crazy out there. That's something to think about. Productivity software tracks every click, keystroke, and bathroom break. The worker is under constant observation. A digital panopticon. Yeah, panopticon. Man, these words, I tell you, sound like some science fiction type stuff. The gig economy mirage. Promise, freedom, and flexibility deliver instability and no benefits. Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, the new sweatshops of the digital age. Oh, that's gonna be a whole nother stream. I'm gonna come on. I'm definitely gonna do one about the gig economy, the gig jobs. Because you know, you got a lot of people thinking they could get over the, how I'm gonna say this, they think they could do better by doing gig work. You working twice as harder than the proletariat doing gig work. Think about it. You putting your body on the line. Most important, you tearing your car up. I don't care if you drive a brand new car, an outdated car. You beating your car up doing gig work like Uber, DoorDash, Instacart. Don't get me wrong. You got some people make decent money, but you have no benefits. You got to work nonstop. You working round the clock. You have no breaks. You got to take the breaks when you want, but yeah. So that's gonna be a whole nother stream coming up in the future about the gig economy. You know how, you know, it's a illusion. It's a mirage. Drone shots of corporate campuses, gig workers scrolling on phones, warehouses workers scanned by AI systems. Yep, we all being watched by AI systems. I agree. Yep. Okay, let's get to the next talking point. The psychological toll. That's the next talking point. The psychological toll. For those that's watching, hit the like button. I appreciate it. I'll get to the comment section to the chat as soon as I finish the presentation. For those that's watching, hit the like button, share it. Much appreciated. Let's continue. When life becomes a constant struggle to survive, the mind pays the price. The proletariat isn't just exhausted, they are demoralized. They are demoralized. That is true. They are. The working class are demoralized. That's why you see a lot of these people making videos on YouTube, how they talk about they burned out, they done with life. You know, you got the rise of the anti-natal community, the black pill, the doomers, because people are demoralized. After this event that happened in 2020, it's like the world just became demoralized, especially people in American society. Like I said, it's a whole nother topic, you know, about the moral race, like how people are demoralized and stuff. Talking points. Let's get to the talking points for this section. Burnout as a lifestyle, constant labor, and financial insecurity causes chronic stress. Work-life balance is a myth. Work-life balance is a myth. Rest is treated like laziness. That is true. You know, they don't want you to get rest. Let me tell y'all something. If these jobs could have 100% power, they will make us work 7 days a week. They will make the proletariats work 7 days a week, non-stop. No off days. If they could do it that way, think about Japan. That's why Japan have a high suicide rate or unaliving rate. Because you got to watch what you see on this platform. So if you ever do your research about Japan, a lot of them salary men, they unalive themselves because they being worked to death. They either gonna unalive themselves or they gonna drop dead from over being overworked. You know, a lot of these Japanese workers are being overworked to death. And that's why you got a lot of Japanese men quitting society. They becoming herbivore men. What's the term? It's called a hikikomori or something like that. There's a term out there in Japan, like a hikikomori is basically mean a younger man or man living with their parents. They ain't interested in nothing. They just stay in their room all day, play video games, you know, listen to music, you know. They call them herbivore men or hikikomoris. You know, y'all probably know what I'm talking about, those who come across this stream. But anyway, let's continue. Work-life balance is a myth. Rest is treated like laziness. Mental health crisis, depression, anxiety, and substance abuse skyrocket in the working class. That is true. Therapy and mental health services are luxuries, not rights. A lot of proletariats, they turn to depression, anxiety, substance abuse. Financial, financial depression is a real thing. It may sound far-fetched and ludicrous to some people, but yes, you could get depressed from not having a lot of finances. Why you think a lot of broke people want to crash out? You know, that's why I say you don't want to assault you. If you assault the wrong type of broke person in public or on the streets, man, you have a risk of getting your snot box rocked or getting jacked, getting carjacked. You know, getting your chain snatched. Man, that's why a lot of these YNs are full of rage. You know, because they have no opportunities for them. You know, it's no opportunities for the youth. So they turn to becoming, they say, look, man, I've tried. They don't want to hire, so I'm gonna turn to the streets. I'm gonna be on demon time. I'm gonna become a savage YN, and I'm gonna take it by force. And a lot of these people on the street, they don't want to live. They don't want to get into that. The majority of these youngsters, you know, they just victims of their circumstances. You know, they victim of their circumstances. You know, but yeah, depression, anxiety, you know, stress, depression, anxiety, stress, substance abuse. That's a big thing in the working class. You know, that's why you got a lot of people on edibles. Why you think you see all these smoke shops in your cities? I don't care if you're in a city or small town, you got a lot of these smoke shops on the rise. That's why they legalize marijuana. They know what they're doing. The powers that be, they say, look, we're gonna give them a little bonus. We're gonna give the working class a bonus. We know they get stressed out. So hey, let's legalize marijuana in the majority of the states. Let's come up with the edibles, the chewable edibles, the shrooms, you know, all that to get them distracted off with what they got to deal with. You know, yeah, they get off of work, they go smoke their weed, drink, chew their edibles, get it in with their girlfriend or boyfriend, be in a relationship or marriage. But once once that alarm clock go off and they wake up, reality is back. They gotta go back to the Death Star, or they gotta go back to Dollar Tree or Pound Town. Shout out to Millennial Stream. He came up with them talking points. That's another content creator. Oh, he had me laughing. He called a job Fleece Johnson. You know it's bad. You know somebody hate their job when they gotta compare their job to Fleece Johnson and call the job Pound Town or the Death Star or Dollar Tree. Hey, that's crazy. But that's how some of them be feeling, man. They treat their job like it's police jobs. But anyway, let's continue. Isolation and alienation. Workers feel disconnected from community purpose and power. The system breeds loneliness, a society of atomized individuals too tired to fight back. Exactly. How many of y'all proletarians out there do feel lonely? You feel like you have no power or purpose. You feel disconnected from the community because once you put on that vest or that work uniform at your proletariat job, it's a humiliation ritual. Every time you put on that work uniform, that's a humiliation ritual. Because if you're working at a retail store or a fast food place in your city or something, you're going to see everybody you know. You're going to see former classmates. You're going to see your family. You're going to see your enemies. You're going to see your lovers. You're going to see people you try to avoid. You're going to see your ops. You're going to see the whole city. It's a small world when you work at these proletariat jobs. And they're going to see you in your work uniform and they're going to look down on you, especially some people that got corporate jobs. When they come shop at these stores or go eat at these fast food places, they have a tend to look down on proletariats. It's just human nature. It's the dark nature of humanity. And like I say, nobody have the right to look down on where you work at because it's an honest living you're doing. And because that say like if I was a CEO of a company and I go shop or eat at a fast food place, I'm not gonna look down on them workers. I'm gonna look at them like, hey, look, they gotta do what they gotta do to survive. They going through so much stuff. And I look at it like this. I may be a CEO of a company, but my job ain't guaranteed, just like their job ain't guaranteed. Nobody's job is safe. That's what people need to understand. I don't care if you work at a proletariat job. I don't care if you're a tradesman. I don't care if you're a truck driver. I don't care if you work in the medical industry. I don't care if you work in the government for the government. Nobody's job is safe. We all replaceable. We all replaceable. And ultimately, we all equal in the eyes of the reaper, you know, because the grave don't discriminate against the grave don't care where you work at, you know. The reaper don't care what you do for a living. When is the appointed time for the angel of death to come reap your soul to take to the afterlife? You know, it's time. It's time. But let's continue. Enough about that. Let's continue to the main topic. Talking point number 4: the collapse of stability. The 20th century worker dream of a house, a family, a pension. The 21st century worker dreams of a stable month. That's gone. For us millennials and Gen Z, that is a pipe dream to have a house, a family, and a pension. Most millennials and Gen Z ain't gonna have those three things. They're not gonna own a house. They're not gonna have a family. They might have children, but it's gonna be baby daddy drama, baby mama drama, and that goes for all races. When I say those terms, baby daddy, baby mama, that's anybody could be that, no matter what race or religion or that's just the society we live in. But yeah, most millennials and Gen Z ain't gonna have a house. They might have an apartment, or if they get a house, it might be a rent house, but we ain't gonna have no pension. We ain't gonna be able to retire. Most millennials and Gen Z, we ain't gonna see retirement. We're gonna have to work till we go. We're gonna have to work till we transition, unless we get lucky and have something good saved up in our 401k. But if you don't have a job with 401k benefits, you done for. You done for. But yeah, with the housing market, with the high prices for the housing market, it's looking bleak. It's looking bleak, man. A lot of millennials and Gen Z, they're not going to be homeowners. They not. Or if they do become homeowners, they might struggle to keep it afloat because with inflation keep on rising, it's keep on climbing up inflation, and it's not stopping anytime soon. It's not stopping anytime soon, and that's facts. That's big facts. That's big facts. I see y'all in the chat, man. Shout out to brother Amir Carter. Shout out to sister Nomika Townsend. What's up, Chris G? Shout out, brother. I'm gonna get to y'all. I'm gonna get to your question. Let me just continue on. I'm just up in here with the presentation about the proletariats, man. We all proletariats. I consider myself a proletariat. I ain't gonna lie. Shit. I can't lie, it's the truth. I'm considering myself a pro for short, pro. So what's up, my fellow pros? You know, if you living paycheck to paycheck, you're a proletariat. It is what it is. If you living paycheck to paycheck, you're a proletariat. You know, society have no love for the proletariat man. You know, you know what's so messed up? The proletariat woman don't even want to mess with the proletariat man. That's crazy. The proletariat woman, she still want to deal with the hotshot guy that got the status and all that, man. You know, the working class woman don't even want to date the working class man. You know, it's crazy. But you could thank the social media for all that though. But that's gonna be a whole nother stream for a whole nother. Like I said, I got a whole slew of streams I could come up with just based off proletariats in the working class. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. Most high when I'm gonna go to that direction, you know. But anyway, let's get back to the presentation. Talking points. Housing inequality. Housing inequality. Home ownership is becoming a privilege of the upper class. Home ownership is becoming a privilege of the upper class. Rent inflation outpaces income growth, pushing families into homelessness. That's sad. That's sad to see families homeless. You got the children got to live out on the street. Y'all know that's going to traumatize children living on the street, going from shelter to shelter. That's going to do something to those children psychologically. But these corporations, they don't care if you going homeless. They don't care. They're evil. These evil corporations, they don't care. These entities that run these evil corporations can't afford to pay your rent or your mortgage. They not gonna even, you know, these jobs don't even offer assistance to help their workers pay their rent. You know, that would be at least an act of kindness and mercy if these jobs had like programs to help their struggling workers to pay their rent for a month or two. But they don't even offer stuff like that because these corporations, they don't give a damn about the employees. Ain't no love for the pro. You know, ain't no love for the proletariat man or woman. Generational decline. Millennials and Gen Z earn less, own less, and live worse than their parents. Ooh, that's the God honest truth. Amen to that. And the choir say amen. Yes, indeed. That's the Yah honest truth. May the angels in heaven bear witness to that. Millennials and Gen Z earn less, own less, and live worse than their parents. That is big facts. That is big facts. And I feel for Gen Z, you know, they really want to get ahead. And you see, they like to call us millennials. We don't grow up. Society never gave us millennials a chance to grow up. And what I mean, they said us millennials didn't grow up because we're not homeowners. You know, we ain't living like our parents live. You know, so they say most millennials they still stuck. You know, reliving out their childhood. You got a lot of older millennials, man. They still play their video games. They still collect their figurines and all that. They still dress like they 12 years old. You know, their favorite cartoon characters. Ain't no problem with doing that. You do what you want. You dress how you what's comfortable for you. But yeah, so y'all never gave us a chance to grow up. Boomers, millennials, y'all never gave us a chance. Y'all never gave us millennials a chance to grow up. You know, so what can we do? We gotta find some type of hobby to keep our sanity. Because if we don't, we're gonna lose it. We're gonna lose our marbles. Retirement is a fantasy. Social Security might not exist for future workers. Think about that. Retirement is a fantasy. Social Security may not exist for future workers. And that's one thing I worry about. When I get up in age, I might not even have social security. You know, and I always joke with people about that. I say, man, I might not be able to retire. I might have to work till it's time to go. Till it's time to go to the glory. You know. Tell it's time to go. Economic dependence. The proletariat rents everything, homes, cars, even software. Ownership has been replaced with perpetual subscription. That is true. All these subscription services. You know, you got people buying cars, like they buying these new cars with subscription services just to use a certain feature on a car. That is evil. You already got to pay a high car note, and let alone car insurance. That's expensive too. And say if you want to use like the heated seats on your car, you got to pay a subscription for that, like for certain car brands. What kind of evil buffoon gonna come up with that idea? That had to have been an evil person to think of something like that. We're gonna charge them. We're gonna charge them for these special tires, these nitrogen tires that is supposed to last longer than regular air tires. We're gonna charge them extra. We're gonna charge them a subscription for these tires. You know, we're gonna charge them a subscription for these windshield wipers, these power shield windshield wipers, all kind of buffoonery, all kind of madness. It's madness, you know. It's straight up madness. Yep, ownership has been replaced with perpetual subscription. What's that saying they came up with? You're gonna own nothing and be happy. That's the future for a lot of us millennials and Gen Z. You're gonna own nothing and be happy. We ain't gonna own jack nothing, man. We ain't gonna own jack nothing. We're gonna be renting a lot of stuff, homes, cars, even softwares. You know, everything is rent. Even with the video games, you don't even own your video games no more. Video games got whack. You gotta pay Sony a subscription and Xbox a subscription just to play the games online. Then you gotta have Wi-Fi to install the games on your console. Even if you buy the disc version, you still gotta have the Wi-Fi to install the data from the disc on your consoles. So you don't even own your video games no more. And then don't get me started. That's another stream for another topic about the video game industry with the microtransactions. But let's continue. Like I said, I got a whole slew of stuff I could do that's going on in society. Let's continue. Part 5, the political illusion. Every election promised change, but the working class see the same result. Nothing changes for them. Exactly. You got these politicians talking about, oh, we're gonna lower the prices of groceries. We're gonna increase the minimum wage. We're gonna make the wages better. We're gonna bring more jobs to the city. Man, all these politicians does is tell lies. Lie after lie after lie. That's all these politicians does. No broken promises, unfulfilled promises. I don't care if you vote Republican or Democrat. That's why I can't stand when I see these people that's into politics want to bicker and fight. You know, it don't matter what side you own. Both sides are being controlled by the same evil entity and being played like a fiddle. Y'all just too blind to see that. Most people too blind to see that. It don't matter if you a liberal or conservative, Republican, Democrat, or whatever. Both wings belong to the same wicked bird. Straight up. Talking points. Bipartisan neglect. Bipartisan neglect. Both parties serve corporate donors, not workers. Real labor reform is rare and watered down. Disempowerment of unions. Unions, once the workers' shield, have been dismantled and demonized. Yep, exactly. You know, some of these proletariat companies, these proletariat jobs, they're against unions. And they even threaten their workers. You know, they even say, look, if you even think about forming a union, you know, it's gonna be dismantled and you're gonna be terminated. You're gonna be terminated. Yeah, unions ain't there all that great, you know. Look what happened. That was last year with what Amazon and UPS with the union strike. Man, they still had people going to work for Amazon. Man, people protesting in front of the Amazon facilities. Man, people still was rolling out in them Amazon delivery vans. They said to hell with this damn strike, man. I gotta get my money. So them unions ain't no big help, you know. Not these days, at least. talking about the workers' shield. No, man, these unions are dismantled and paid for under the table. They brought and paid for by these corporations. Because let me tell you something, these unions, they get that hush money from these corporations. Like the old saying goes, money talk, bullshit walk. New labor movements are growing, but face massive corporate resistance. Distraction politics. Culture wars keep the working class divided while billionaires multiply their wealth. Exactly. Culture wars keep the working class divided while billionaires multiply their wealth. The people fight each other instead of the oppressors. Exactly. That's why they come up with all these distractions. They got us fighting over religion, race, you know, politics. Like when I did that video a couple of weeks ago about the three taboos: race, religion, and politics. Don't engage, don't fight, we in a bigger war than those three. We in a bigger war, man. The oppressor is these corporations, these politicians. They the real oppressors. These entities that's feeding off of our energy, off of our pain and suffering and misery. But many people too blind to see that though, because they so caught up in petty nonsense. Why people fighting over politics, on social media, bragging and pitting other people down. Man, these billionaires, they multiplying their wealth. Man, they got their private jets, they got their yachts. They living their heaven on earth. Like I said, the mighty rich, they are living in their heaven off of the hell of the proletariats. The proletariats, man, we living in hell, but the billionaires, they living in heaven. They living in heaven. But a lot of people don't see it that way though, because they so they blinded by the distractions. Okay, conclusion. The future that awaits. The American proletariat is being bled dry financially, emotionally, and spiritually. Exactly. You got a lot of people, man, they giving up on God, man. They becoming atheists, man. They seeking other belief systems, man. They a lot of people wrestle with that, man. A lot of people faith being tested, it's like a lot of people are drained financially. They being bled dry, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, man. They should have put physically in that too. Unless something changes, the future won't be a dystopia built overnight. It will be the slow, quiet decay of the working class until only the wealthy can afford to truly live. Man, that's nightmare right there. Think about that. The working class may not be able to enjoy life no more. Only the wealthy could be able to. It's gonna only be the wealthy. You're gonna only see the wealthy going on vacation once or twice a year, be able to afford a brand new car off the lot. Most proletariats, man, they're gonna be driving a Promobile. They're gonna be driving a Promobiles, which is a late model car, and nothing against that. Take care of your Promobiles, my fellow proletariats. Take care of your Promobile. I don't care if it's a 2010, 2008. I don't even if it's a 1998 model car. Take care of your Promobile, man. That's your bread and butter. As long as it gets you to point A to point B. I don't care what you drive for your Promobile, you know, straight up. But it doesn't have to be this way. The power of the proletariat has always been its unity. The moment workers realize their shared struggle, the illusion shatters. And maybe then a new dream could begin. One built not on profit, but on people. Exactly. Exactly. That's what it's going to take for the people to come together as a unit. But unfortunately, a lot of people are sheeple. That's the sad part about it. And think about like in chattel slavery. When you had some slaves planning to run away from the plantation, you know, some of the brainwashed slaves, they won't try to tell master about the escape. And that's how it's gonna be. Say like if you got a lot of workers wanna organize and galvanize to trying to stop people from working these jobs, you're gonna have some of these loyal workers, these beaten workers beaten down like old dogs, and they're gonna tell the corporate people, and they're gonna dismantle, they're gonna try to dismantle, they're gonna send agents to dismantle operation. Like I say, man, too much sheeple. But that's what it's gonna take. It's gonna take people to come together, all the proletariats, and say, man, to hell with this. We ain't coming back to work till you give us better wages. Give us livable wages, then we come back to work. That's what it's gonna take. But like I say, most people are sheeple, man. They're afraid. They are afraid. Straight up. They are afraid. But yeah, that was the presentation there. Let me get to the chat now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, what's good with y'all there? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's why I focus on self-improvement in video games. Ain't nothing too interesting going on outside besides foolishness and frustrated people. That's why I stay inside most of the time. And that's sad, man. That's not life, man. Life not supposed to be that way, though. To be honest, you're supposed to be out there, and then you a younger brother too, man. You a younger dude, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of young folks, man. Yeah, the great falling away is real. Yeah, yeah. People calling them, yeah. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I wrestle with it too. All the stuff I've been through recently, I ain't gonna lie, Chris G, I'm gonna confess, man, I've been slacking myself when it comes to faith, you know. I've been gravitating, towards like the Gnostic teachings about the demiurge and all that, how the earth is a simulation and that we are being formed by these archons and stuff, But that's a whole nother topic. But well, eventually I'm a come back home, like I say, life just been beating me down and shit. I'm a proletariat, all that, you know, and because I would like to experience the American dream, but I gotta accept the fact that I might not even have a family, I might not have a home, be a homeowner. And that's just let my mind say, man, fuck all this shit. This shit all the illusion anyway. This is a simulation that is orchestrated by the demiurge, we think he the true God, but he's the false God, the demiurge. And we just gotta find our way to grow spiritually, escape this damn matrix, and return back to the true source, the real creator, that's what's called source, the true source, you know. And so that's the Gnostic belief, the Gnostic Christians. It's an ancient belief, the Gnostic Christians. You could research it, the Gnosticism, the Gnostic Christians. See, the Catholic Church, they hid away the Gnostic teachings. You know, what if this is a grand simulation and our souls are being formed and we keep reincarnating to this hellish realm, man. You know, I'm just saying, it's a possible. There's so much theories out there. Because there are so many books they took out the Bible, man. I mean, the Catholic Church got so much ancient knowledge they don't want mankind to know. And it's for a reason. I won't be surprised if they took a book out the Bible that have a special powerful prayer that could turn you into a warrior angel. You become an angel for a couple of minutes or hour. It may sound crazy and stupid to the mundane person, but I'm serious. They probably got a They probably took a scroll out the teachings, out the Bible. It's a powerful prayer. You say that prayer, it might transform you into a being or something. I'm just saying. And it may not work on them because their heart is too evil, and they not the people of the most high. That's something to think about. You see, I overthink. I think outside the box, you know. That's why I probably can't do too well being around a lot of people, man, because I overthink, I like to think outside the box, you know. Always been that way. Yeah. Yeah, the simulation. Yeah, a lot of people, man, because this life ain't fair. I mean, it seems like you try to do the right thing, and it seems like all the evil people getting ahead, the stupid people getting ahead, you know. But I know there's a creator. There is a creator that is all loving, as a divine creator, But we just gotta you know, but to each his own, like I say, But yeah, a lot of NPCs out there. But yeah. Yeah, but my gamer tag, like I said, I might play some Red Dead Redemption 2 later on, you know. Yeah, matter of fact, I'm gonna type it in the chat. My gamer tag for PS5, PlayStation Network. Yeah, that's my gamer tag. Named after Dr. Timmer from the anime monster. Timber 99 1996. That's my gamer tag. Name Timber 1996. Named after Dr. Timber off of the anime monster by that doctor. That's a good anime, by the way. It's one of them psychological thriller animes called Monster. But it's like, man, you know, being a proletariat, man, you don't even you even your hobbies, you can't even enjoy your hobbies some days. You know why? Because you overthinking, you're thinking of you're depressed, you got your depression days, you're stressed out, you're thinking about how to pay your bills. And I feel for Gen Z, I really do. I feel for the Gen Z that really want to be out on their own, but they still living with their parents. I know they gotta be miserable for some of them because you want your own privacy. That's the most grown-up thing to have, your privacy. You got your own roof over your head. You could come and go as you please, you know. You could do what you want. You're a young adult. You know. Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should on my little gaming channel. Yeah, I thought about it. To be honest, I thought about streaming on that. Doing a gaming stream. But yeah, ain't no love for the proletariat. Shit, society don't care about us. How Michael Jackson said that. You know the song he made. They don't really care about us, man. Michael Jackson was telling the truth on that song. Yeah, Michael was telling the truth on that song. Yep. hmm But yeah, man, I just think, man, what if this is a simulation, man? I'm just thinking. What if this is a simulation? A, s- a simulation, man, I'm just saying, because don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful the earth, it's a beautiful existence, this planet, this earth, this realm, earth realm. Some people say earth flat, some people think earth is round, some people call earth a dimension. It is what it is, call it like a realm, like the Norse believe this is called Midgard. Like the Norse, they call earth Midgard because you see in the Norse religion or the North mythology slash religion, they believe the 9 realms. You got Midgard. You got Midgard is considered Earth realm. You got Asgard, the realm of the gods. That's where Thor and Odin chilling at with the divine council and all that shit. And you got the Elvenheim for the elves. The dwarves got their realm. You got the hellish realm. You got Helheim. Now their version of hell is cold. Some belief systems, hell is really cold. It's like a ice. Think about Bleach, the anime Bleach, Waco Mundo. That's a hellish realm. It's cold in Waco Mundo. It's everything is dying in decay, like the hollows. When you think about the hollows on the anime Bleach, they soulless, they hollow, they cold. In Waco Mundo, man, when you look at the location of Waco Mundo, the landscape, it's black sand, it's grayish sand, it's misery, it's nihilistic, you know. That's why I say, man, Uka Uru, one of my favorite characters in the anime Bleach, one of the Rancals or Spartas, he was a member of the Sparta. He's the poster child of nihilism, man. He is the poster child of nihilism, Uka Uru. He was severely depressed. It's like he was waiting for somebody to, defeat him. And when Ichigo defeated him, man, he just faded away into dust. For all the anime fans that know what I'm talking about. Uka Uru, one of the Rancals. But Aizen, he was manipulating him. And Aizen, he was portraying himself like he was a Lucifer, man. Aizen, he wanted to like rise above the Soul King. But man, let me keep it a buck, man. Bleach, that's one thing. I like Japanese anime. I like anime, but anime, they like to take shots at the Most High, man. Cause how y'all gonna make the Soul King in Bleach? Y'all made him weak, man. The Soul King. He's supposed to be the so-called divine king, the Soul King. Y'all made him a wussy, man. I mean, like, even in Dragon Ball Z, y'all make fun of the Most High. Y'all got Zeno. He's supposed to be like the highest being of the omniverse in Dragon Ball Super. Y'all made him like a little kid with a pale head. Oh, big old blue pale head. That's supposed to be y'all version of the Most High. You see, Japan, they always make fun of the Most High, man. They don't take the Most High serious. And they wonder why Japan is cursed, man. Japan is a cursed land, man. It is. You got all these yokai spirits. You got all these unalivings going on. Japan is a cursed place. That's because y'all mocking the Most High. I'm just keeping the buck. Yeah, and I like anime. I like the Japanese culture, but it's a cursed place. There's a lot of cursed places in this world, man. Just like New Orleans, Vegas, parts of Texas, Los Angeles. Man, that's cursed areas, man. Nothing but portals, man. That's why a lot of dark energy be going on in them cities. Think about it. But yeah, I'm glad y'all enjoyed the stream. You know, shout out to everybody that listened. But yeah, man, the American dream is a hoax. It's a hoax. You know, like for millennials and Gen Z, that's a pipe dream. I think in this day and age, you have to drop your ego and get creative and diverse on how you make your money. Yeah, that's something to think about. Yeah, you got your hit. Yeah. Ego, that's what's holding a lot of us back. Ego. I agree, Amir Carter. Yeah, ego, especially amongst brothers, you know. That's why brothers can't come together, man. It don't matter if it's brothers in the nation of Islam, Israelites, even on the street, man, brothers snake each other on the street, even in the hood, the street, you know, because of ego. Ego. Everybody like it always been that way for brothers, for so-called black men. We got that Highlander mentality, like there can only be one. There can only be one head Negro, and the rest gotta fall in line. No, we need to come as a unit, galvanize. We need to come together, man, like Voltron. Because when you form Voltron, man, you powerful. Form the Voltron. You see, man, we can't even form the Voltron. We saw brothers try to form the Voltron with Ringo, New Breed, Rollo, and Pastor Dow, and that's who else, Mark the Messenger. They tried to form the Voltron, but it failed. Look what's going on. Man, you got that clown Ringo still making videos about New Breed, calling that man racist, just going on a damn slander campaign about that man. That's crazy. Yep. Some of those Katrina refugees came to Texas and been gone. Voodoo and other black magic stuff where I'm at. I'm scared to eat people's food. Yeah, you gotta be careful where you eat. You got don't eat from anybody, Chris G. And like even if you're dating a woman, if she say she gonna cook you some spaghetti, you better watch her. Hey, watch that woman, man. If she say she gonna cook some spaghetti, because you know they do that ritual, they put their menstrual blood in that spaghetti sauce and mix it and put some incantations in there. And next thing you know, you be walking on all fours, hopping around like a rabbit, you know, and bowing down to that woman, worship her like she a goddess or something, man. It's crazy. Yeah, that voodoo and hoodoo rituals and stuff, put roots on people. Man, that stuff is really real, man. Some people say it's bull crap, you know, and you know, but hey, belief is powerful though, you know, you know. But they playing with fire though, dealing with those Lawa spirits, man, because some of them Lawa spirits, if you don't do the rituals right, if you don't even put the right stuff on their altars, they gonna backfire on you. They gonna turn on you, them Lawa spirits. They gonna turn on you. You know, you got them little waspers. They got like hundreds of them too, but popular ones, they got like Papa Legba, you got Barman Samadi, Mama Bridget, you know, so many of them, you know. But that's some of the popular ones I named, you know. Yeah. Like down here in New Orleans, it's very big down here in New Orleans, you know. They into all that. And just like with the Mexican cartels, they pray to Santa Muerta. That's like a Grim Reaper version of the Virgin Mary. It's like the Grim Reaper dressed like the Virgin Mary. It's a very demonic, it's very spooky looking. If you go in certain cartel territories in Mexico, they got shrines devoted to her, Santa Muerta. That's a very demonic entity. That's why them cartels, I think, when they kill people, and it's a ritualistic they do. That's a ritual they do when they kill their ops. When the cartels unalive their ops, that's a ritual they're doing to Santa Muerte. You know, yeah, it's dangerous. There's a lot of dangerous stuff going on. You got to be careful. Stay prayed up. You know, that's why I don't know why people say, "Oh man, let's go take a trip to Mexico." You better know where you're going, and you better make sure you're not going in a cartel-run town, because you got to follow their rules. If you don't follow their rules, man, you get unalive. You will never be heard from again. You will never be heard from again, and that's real talk. Yeah, you know, you got these passport bros, man. Some of them passport bros got unalive going to certain countries, going to what? On the Dominican Republic and Brazil and all that, man. You gotta understand these are third world countries. And they already know you coming from America, they gonna expect you to have money. You're a mark. You already a mark. That's what these passport bros don't understand. You already a mark. Because they know you coming from the United States and they expect you to be coming with the bag. Real talk. Straight up. Real talk. But yeah, man, brothers, man, we gotta galvanize, man, but it's gonna have to take something divine to happen because a lot of brothers, man, they still got the Highlander mentality. They not on the Voltron frequency. They still on that Highlander frequency. They're not even on the Voltron frequency yet. They're not even on that Voltron frequency. Brothers got to get on that Voltron frequency. They still on the Highlander frequency. You know, they could only be one. Yeah. Real talk. A lady from Baton Rouge said black magic is a myth. She's lying real bad. Yeah, she is. Yeah. Yeah, they be into that. Well, a lot of those guys got caught in foolishness too, like paying to play with those women over there, living their second child. Yeah, they going there with bad intentions, so that they reaping what they sow. That is true. Yeah, if they going there with bad intentions, something will happen. Like I said, I got nothing against people traveling to those countries, but you got to go for the right intentions. You know, you go there to sightsee. You know, you go there to learn the culture, enjoy the food. You know, enjoy the scenery. Now, if a woman take interest in you over there, you got to be careful with that. You know, especially if she attractive. And if you go to Jamaica or the Caribbean and you meet a sister, she's 10 out of 10. If she a 10 out of 10 with beautiful red dreadlocks, with pearly green eyes, that might not be a human. That might be a mermaid. It may sound crazy, but yeah, I don't get these guys talking about they want to date a 10 out of 10. If you meet a woman that's a 10 out of 10, she might be a non-human. I'm just being real. She might be a vampire, werewolf, or succubus or something. That's real talk. People don't think talking about a 10 out of 10. If you meet a 10 out of 10 and she got flawless skin, you know, you better check that uncanny valley radar in that discernment, that uncanny, what they call it? The uncanny radar. You know, like when you see something that appears to be human, but it's really not human, that's called an uncanny valley. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the uncanny valley. You know, you see something, you see a being, or it could be an entity you think is, you know, probably could be a reptilian. Yeah. Same thing, these brothers want to go to Japan. You know, you see a beautiful Japanese woman with curves, because you know the average Japanese woman built like a flat back. They don't got no curves. They don't got no they're not really voluptuous like that. But if you see a voluptuous Japanese woman built like a sister, you know, that might be a damn Jorogumo and spider lady or some yokai. A damn fox spirit might be a nine-tailed fox wanting she gonna take you in her bed chamber. Yeah, she gonna let you get it in with her. And soon as you're about to bust that nut, she gonna transform into that Kasune form and devour your damn liver. She gonna shank you with her nine tails. Matter of fact, they had a fox lady on that show, Lovecraft Country, but it was the Korean version of the nine-tailed fox. Matter of fact, the main character, he was dating her. He started dealing with the like the main character in Lovecraft Country. That was a damn good show. I'm pissed off they canceled that show. That was a damn good show, Lovecraft Country. Yeah, like when he fought in the Korea War, he was messing with this Korean woman. He was dating this Korean woman, but but I think they call it a kumiho instead of kasune. They call it a kumiho in Korean. But it's the same thing. It's a kasune, like in Japanese. Yeah, man. Old boy was sleeping around with a damn nine-tailed fox spirit, man. A fox spirit. She. Yep. Let's see. Oh yeah, y'all in the chat. Let me see. Okay, bro, you already gentrifying that area because you want to live that high value lifestyle, high value man lifestyle. That's already one negative way you're affecting the economy. Exactly. Yeah. I heard a dude one time growl like an animal slash demon. He's either possessed or demon. Yeah, they out there. Especially when they get that alcohol in them. Yeah, them spirits come out. Them spirits manifest and they get overly drunk or high on something. That's what the key is, to live slightly above the locals. Live comfortably, not like a millionaire. Exactly. Yeah, if you go visit those countries, live like the locals. Don't flash in front of them because they already in a third world country. They already on hard times. And you're gonna make yourself a target to the local gangs if you flashing in front of these people in these foreign countries. Like if you go to Thailand, Vietnam, the Dominican Republic, and parts of Brazil, especially parts of Brazil, man, they savage out there. Oh yeah, certain parts of Brazil, man, they will strip you clean. They will strip you clean. They're gonna take your gold, they're gonna take your wallet, they're gonna take everything. They're gonna take the shirt off your back, especially if you're wearing a Gucci shirt, they're gonna take that Gucci shirt too. They're gonna just leave you in your underwear. They're gonna have you walking around in your underwear. Shucks. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's crazy out there. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, everybody may appear to be human out there in the crowd, but hey, there's a lot of strange phenomenon out there. The uncanny. Y'all gotta understand, man. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. My words coming out wrong, man. English is. I butcher the English language, man. I had to take speech, man. When I was in school, I had to take speech. So if y'all can't understand what I'm saying, the uncanny valley, is real. The uncanny valley is real. You know. So exactly. I hope we don't go to war. Sister Nomika said, I hope we don't go to war. Yeah, we don't need to. We can't afford to go to war because ain't no proletariat fighting no war. This proletariat over here ain't fighting no war. In hell, not everybody like Americans anyway. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man, you got them. Even what's his name? Austin Holloman. He even given up on a passport bro title. And that they treated that man like he was the passport bro saint. Austin Holloman. He giving up on that. They had a video recently. He say he reconciled with his mother. That's good. He reconciled with his mother. I'm glad to hear news like that. I guess he had mama issues. I'm glad to see him reconcile with his mother, Austin Holloman. And he even giving up about the passport bros. And when I see that, I respect that. That's showing he's maturing. The young man is maturing. He's probably gonna pursue other avenues of life. Maybe it's gonna bring him in a better direction of life. I'm just saying. I hope it's not all for sure. I hope it ain't a ploy, but I'm just saying it might bring him to a better avenue of life. Exactly. They don't like the president and they will automatically associate with that. But hey, I didn't vote. To be honest, Amir Carter, I didn't vote. I didn't vote for the orange orangutan. I didn't vote for the orange orangutan, bro. But that's their champion. Hey, that's they MAGA. They MAGA. That's their champion. Trump is their champion. The MAGA collective. Talking about make America great again. Man, this society wasn't how this society was great when it was founded on bloodshed, slavery, deception, grape, unaliving the natives, you know, spreading diseases, you know. All 50 of those states was acquired through bloodshed. The United Snakes of America with the three Ks. That was all acquired through bloodshed. Like when you look at the four corner states like Colorado, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, California, part of California too, in Texas, that was all Mexican territory. That was part of Mexico. But you see, when they was building, when they was expanding to the west, like when a white man wanted to expand to the west, it was bloody battles, man. You had the Indian Wars, like after the Civil War, I want to say like 1867, that started the Western era, the Wild West era, because like when you play Red Dead Redemption 2, it takes place in 1899. I think that was like the last area of the last days of the Western area, because most of the country was becoming law. Most of the lands was being law, and most of the Western states was being tamed. In 1899, and like when you play Red Dead Redemption 2, like the character, he's part of an outlaw gang, and he like one of the last outlaw gangs that's still around. They on a run. You know, yeah. So well, I've been having fun playing the Western because I like cowboys. I like the Western movies. I grew up watching Western movies. I grew up watching Clint Eastwood, a few John Wayne, but I was more into Clint Eastwood than John Wayne. Oh, John Wayne, they say he was a damn racist, allegedly. John Wayne. He always had something negative to say about people of color. Yeah. hmm Yeah, man. Yeah, just gotta watch your surroundings out there. Gotta watch your surroundings out there. We in October, especially this month. The season of the witch. For those that got children, watch y'all children, grandchildren. There's a lot of predators out there that's looking to snatch up the little ones. These wicked people that want to harm children. Woe unto them. May they get the righteous, divine punishment they deserve for all those that snatch up these innocent children and harm them. You know, you got to be an evil person, man, to want to harm a child. Straight up, you got to be an evil person. That's why I see parents out there, man. You come across this live stream, man. Watch y'all children, man. You go to the grocery store, you better hold on to your children. Put them in a shopping cart. If they like under 5 years old, toddler age, keep them in the shopping cart. Don't let them run around. Put them, even if they throw a tantrum and cry, just put them in the shopping cart when you go to the grocery store or retail store or whatever. And don't leave them in the car neither. That's another thing parents need. I can't stand when they leave their children in the car. That's sad when you hear about a child, passing on because heat exhaustion. How you gonna leave your child in the damn hot car? That's just tell you, man. Some people, man. I tell you. But yeah, anyway, I didn't vote for Trump. Ha ha. I didn't vote for Trump. I ain't voting for none of them. Like I said, I'm not Democrat or Republican, man. I don't fool with that. Politics is all tricks anyway. There ain't nothing but tricks. It's another game on it's another Ponzi scheme, All people that vote, y'all just pieces on a chess piece. People that voted for Democrat, Republican, man, y'all all just, and your vote really don't matter because the powers that be, the elite, they already know who they want in office. They already got a game plan. They probably got it all mapped up for the next president elections. You know, they probably already know who they want to be the next president right after Trump. They probably got it all planned out. But people don't think it's all scripted, just like sports is scripted. You know, sports is scripted. That's why I don't watch sports, man. It's scripted. I can't stand that sports is scripted. Let them play naturally, man. Let the teams play naturally. Let the best team win. But we know that don't work that way because that would be boring if they was to do things legit. So they gotta have it scripted. Just like the Super Bowl is scripted. They ain't nothing but a big ritual anyway. They ain't nothing but a big ritual to they false deities that they worship. You know, you got Beyonce performing, you got Taylor Swift or whoever they gonna have, whoever buffoon they gonna have for the next Super Bowl performer. They ain't nothing but a big ritual. Just like these reward shows, they ain't nothing but rituals. That they already know who they want. Whoever do the most rituals, whoever do the most diabolical rituals, they get a damn award at the music awards, man. It's all rigged. Even the video game rewards is rigged, man. Everything is rigged. All these awards, man, you know, that's something to think about. It's all rigged. It's all rigged. It's all rigged. Straight up. Ain't nothing fun no more. Ain't nothing the same no more. You ain't gonna own nothing in the future. Everything gonna be with a subscription and rent. And that's the way they want it to be. I was thinking about, you know, how when most of us millennials was children, they gave us a like our favorite stuffed animal action figure to calm us down. When I look at the children today, the parents they give them tablets to calm them down. And when I look at the small children today with the tablets, when they grow up, they might give their children a robot companion. That's something to think about. Like when you see the children today, when they become adults and have their own children, they're gonna pacify their children with a robot companion. I think when robots become the norm, man, not too many people gonna have pets. Robots gonna replace the pets. You're gonna have less people owning pets. They're gonna say we're gonna have robot companions and robot servants. That's something to think about. That's like in a far-fetched future, that's just a possibility. You think esports is scripted? It's a possibility, maybe not. You talk about esports like the video game tournaments and all that. Nah, I think they be legit. The video game tournaments, like the fighting game tournaments, I think they could be legit. I think they legit because that's skilled players, they be playing those games and getting into them fighting tournaments, them fighting game tournaments. Yeah, esports. Yeah, it's a possibility it's not scripted, but I do know that the regular sports that you watch on TV, that is scripted. That gotta be scripted. It's like a movie. Bad Bunny is the next performance at the Super Bowl. Okay, I don't even know who that is, bro. Like I said, I don't keep up with the music and shit like that. I'm about to Google that person. Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. Who the hell is Bad Bunny? Or a Puerto Rican rapper and record label? Okay, that's who Bad Bunny is? 31 years old. Okay. Benito Antonio Martinez Oxcazo, known as Bad Bunny, is a Puerto Rican rapper and record producer. Okay, dubbed the king of Latin trap. Oh, that guy. Like I said, I don't know who these dudes is. So basically, they want to replace hip hop with non FBA. That's what I noticed about the hip hop industry. I noticed that they want to replace the hip hop industry with non FBA, with non Negroes. They have biracials, they have people of Latin descent. You know, I don't think boxing and MMA is scripted, but they do rob fighters of their wins. You got a right to your opinion. That does make sense. The score, yeah, they're miscalculating with the score. Yeah, that's a good point, though. It's like you think a certain fighter gonna win a match, but the judge might not like that fighter, so he gonna mess up the scorecard on purpose. So I see where you're coming from, Amir Carr. I see where you're coming from with that comment. Yeah, yeah. MMA ain't scripted because when somebody get knocked the hell out, they get knocked the hell out. Yeah, so you got point taken on that, bro. Point taken. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think boxing and MMA is scripted, but they do rob the fighters of their wins. No, it's not scripted, especially when you watching MMA and somebody getting ground and pounding, then the referee got to throw them off. It ain't scripted. They get knocked the hell out. Yeah, he's going to be performing in Spanish, and a lot of people are not happy about that. Oh, that's going to be controversial, especially the MAGA crowd. Oh my goodness. He's gonna be performing in Spanish, and a lot of people ain't gonna be. Yeah, that's what I say. That's taking shots at MAGA. Think about it, man. That's taking shots at the MAGA community. They're gonna be ticked off when they see that. Bad Bunny. I can see them rednecks. Who the hell is Bad Bunny? They got this damn beaner performing at American football. This is American. This is against American pride. What happened to this damn country? Why they couldn't get a good old southern white boy performing country music about the pride of this great nation? They're gonna be chewing their tobacco and spitting on you like, who is this damn Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl? This is ludicrous. We need to boycott this Bad Bunny guy. Oh yeah. Last year they had that damn nigger, you know, Kendrick Lamar talking about they not like us. You're goddamn right we ain't like those poach monkeys. We are superior. We are the Aryan race. We are the first colonizers of civilization. We are the builders of civilization. When we erected the statues, they were still fighting with each other with wooden spears and swinging around naked like monkeys. But they had him performing at the Super Bowl, and now they got this damn sand nigger or beaner performing at this damn Super Bowl. Bad Bunny, that's a sus name. Why the hell he call himself a bunny? More like a damn bad toad. Let me stop, man. You two might flag this shit. But that's how they be, though. All jokes aside, that's how them racist bastards be, though. That's how they be. Yep. That's how them racist cocksuckers be, insecure. And like they want to talk about black fatigue, they got white fragility. They fragile eagle. They got fragile egos. Yep, he should. I don't know where he should. He should. Yeah, Bad Bunny should, because they did a lot wrong to the Puerto Ricans. Yeah, he should. He should call it out. Hey, like I said, I ain't against him performing in Spanish, you know. And he gonna do what he gonna do. If they don't like it, oh well. Ain't like I'm watching the Super Bowl anyway. I'm just saying, he can do what he want. Shit, you know. You're gonna have people mad too. You're gonna have a lot of people. They're gonna be like, they should have ice on stand. They're gonna probably have some people say they should have ice on standby just in case he trying to do something crazy. You already know them. The MAGA crowd. Yep. Yep, that's Bad Bunny. He performing at the next Super Bowl next year in 2026. Whoever go there, whoever team go there. I already know the New Orleans Saints ain't going there. Like I said, when the Saints won the Super Bowl, they gave them that game. To be honest, they gave them that game. That's what Margo was saying. They're gonna have ice out there. Oh. Ah. That's typical Margo for you. Exactly. That is true. Yeah, Puerto Rico is part of America. What's wrong with these retards of MAGA? These MAGA retards. Yeah. Didn't the United States acquire Puerto Rico as a territory? Some people call Puerto Rico the 51st state. Technically, some people consider Puerto Rico the 51st state. Yeah. So Puerto Ricans are American citizens by default. Yeah. Yeah, because America acquired Puerto Rico. So these MAGA buffoons, man, they stupid. So they might as well accept that Bad Bunny will be performing at the next Super Bowl coming up in a few months. So they need to just toughen up. And if the advice I could give MAGA, whenever Bad Bunny perform, if you don't want to watch it in Spanish, just mute it or cut it off. Till he finish. Wait till the halftime show over. That's what most people do at halftime anyway. They go get something to eat. If they're at a Super Bowl party at their house, that's when they serving the food. That's when they fixing their drinks and all that. Sometimes they go outside and chop it up and wait till the halftime show over. All there watching it at the stadium. They go to the concession stand, pay for them old high ass hot dogs. I bet you them Super Bowl hot dogs gonna be high. They gonna probably be paying $15 for a goddamn small hot dog with some small nachos, man, at the concession stand. That's a ripoff. You're gonna probably be paying $20 for a big bag of popcorn. They're gonna be making some money at that Super Bowl. That's every Super Bowl they make money. Straight up. That's every Super Bowl they make money. Yeah. But that name, no Bad Bunny. Like I said, I don't keep up with these new artists in the music industry. Bad Bunny. What's gonna be next, man? He come out with all kind of weird names. Bad Bunny. That sound like If Bugs Bunny had a cousin that was a roughneck or tough customer, man, I got a cousin named Bad Bunny, Doc. He don't take no shit from humans. Man, let me come up with a new Looney Tune character, Bad Bunny. Shit, he gonna be beating up Elmer Fudd. He gonna be beating up all other Looney Tune characters. He's a very liberal artist. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be controversial, because they already, ever since that incident happened, a few weeks ago with Charlie Kirk, man, they already want to go to civil war with the liberals, the conservatives. You had a lot of these conservatives talking their noise, talking about we ready for a civil war, talking about they got more guns than liberals. I'd be like, they just bloodthirsty. Yo, man, he part of that. He catered into that alphabet community. Okay, he dressed up as a woman and kissed a guy. Oh no, I can't support that. Man, he part of that. He catered into the agenda. Then I can see why he mad at him now, Marvin. Yeah, because he very liberal. Then he very liberal. Jay-Z runs the halftime show. He's be choosing these artists. Oh, okay, it makes sense. Yeah, Jay-Z, yeah, because he a billionaire. Jay-Z. He had to do some deep rituals. I bet you he probably met some of those entities, man, that runs the music industry. He probably had conversation with some of those entities. He probably met a fallen angel. Now when I mean entities, these spirits, they take on a human form. They possess a human and speak through those humans. They take over. you know. Because if they transform into their real form, man, Jay-Z gonna die of heart attack if you see them in those monsters and demons show their true form and talk in a demonic language in a native tongue. You know, if those entities was to speak in a native tongue to Jay-Z, man, he'll drop dead probably. Same thing with the righteous angels. Just imagine if we could hear an angel sing, a music. I mean, sing. An angel from heaven. I'm talking about a Yah-fearing angel, an angel that serve Yah or the Most High. If we hear an angel sing a song in its angelic tongue, it'll probably make us feel blissful. It'll make us feel all kind of way. It'll make us feel euphoria. It'll probably we will lose control. We will surrender to that angel. We will surrender to that angel. You know, that's something to think about, man. And even if an angel was to speak in his divine tongue, man, it'll probably that info sound. It will shake our spirit. It will shake us up. That's something to think about. You know, and I can't stand when people be on YouTube talking about, oh, God spoke to me in a dream. God told me this. No, he didn't. You can't speak to the Most High directly. You're gonna die. Come on now. How you part of okay, if the words say that we all fall short of the glory of God, and you got these buffoons on YouTube and social media talking about, I saw God in my dream face to face. He spoke to me. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That probably was another false divine being. That was a false light. That wasn't the Most High. Because even Moses, even like when you read the scriptures, when Moses went on a mountain and communicate with the Most High, he couldn't look at the Most High face to face. He was gonna die. He was gonna be vaporized. He was gonna cease to exist. He was gonna burn up into nothingness from the power of the Most High. So come on now. But you got a lot of people. That's a grift, man. That's a shame how they using the Most High as a grift on social media. That's all it is. You got a lot of religious grifters. They're using the word of God as a grift, man. They're using God as a grift, talking about, oh, God spoke to me. I'm a prophet. And you got people calling themselves a prophet and prophetess. That's a big mistake. You want to, if you read the Bible, you should know that the life of a prophet was miserable. They was killed, like most of the powerful prophets in the Bible, they was unalived by the wicked Israelites. The disciples of Christ was unalive. But you got these clowns on the internet talking about they a prophet. And expect you to treat them as a prophet like they royalty or something. Man, they better go sit their damn monkey ass down, man. Real talk. How you calling yourself a prophet? Like you holier than thou. And when you take a number two, it's gonna stink like the next man or woman. Better go sit down, bro. Shucks. Talking about God spoke to you in a dream. God spoke to you face to face. And I'm not in like there's ways he does speak. He speak through people, he speak through signs, but he ain't gonna come down and speak in his powerful voice. You will get shooken up. You will probably cease to exist. Cause that powerful in his voice, man. His voice could shadow realms and dimensions, man. He could do all things. Y'all could do all things. Man, if he probably got a if he was just a whistle, he'll probably destroy our solar system, all galaxy. If he whistle, that's how powerful the Most High is. If he just whistle, man, his favorite tune, if he whistle his favorite song, man, he could destroy the whole solar system on some galactic cosmetic destruction, man. Thanos think he could wipe out a whole universe. Like, oh man, Thanos, that's child's play. What you did, Thanos, that's child's play. That's child's play. You snap that infinity gauntlet, man. The Most High don't need no goddamn trinket like that. He could just do it with a thought. He could just do it with a thought. With it, just thinking about it. He don't need no damn golden glove with some damn stones. Man, just imagine that, man. Thanos versus the Most High. Man, it's no contest. He gonna look at that, man. The Most High gonna see that infinity gauntlet. There ain't nothing but a goddamn thing of dust. That's what he gonna say. Oh man, shit. Yeah. And that's speaking of that, and I ain't gonna lie, I get tired of seeing that on YouTube too. These versus videos like Goku versus Superman, Hulk, these death matches, man. That ain't nothing just to start an internet war between fans. That's all it is. I think that's a psyop too. When you got these channels on YouTube like Spider-Man versus Iron Man, you even got anime characters, Godzilla versus Cthulhu, Saitama from One Punch Man versus the Punisher. I'm just coming up with all kind of random stuff, Man, that's nothing just to start up a damn flame war between fans, debates and minors debate. That's psyop. That's another psyop. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Everybody got a right to opinion, but I think it's a psyop because I noticed that these death in these videos, it may be like Goku, why Goku versus Omni Man ain't close. That's annoying. That annoys. I don't even entertain those videos. How dare you want to match Omni Man against Goku, man? Goku, man, will destroy the virtual mites, man. Why Homelander versus Superman ain't close? Man, I don't watch that crap. There ain't none just to start up a damn flame war between fans. I'm telling y'all, that's a psyop. It may sound like conspiracy theories, but man, in my opinion, that's a freaking psyop. It's a psyop to stir up discord because that's what the entities want. They want to stir up discord. They want to prey on people's emotions. They thrive off of chaos on the internet. They love seeing people get into arguments, just like on these panels. Just like on these panels on YouTube, when they be on the panels cursing each other out, disrespecting each other out, man, they thrive off of that. They thrive off of that negative energy. People don't think, man. People need to wake the hell up, man. They thrive off of that negative energy. Straight up. Yeah. I don't watch those videos of Mirror Call. You probably know what I'm talking about. Like it'd be like Killer Croc versus Doomsday. Why it's not close? I don't watch that bull crap, man. That ain't nothing but a psyop to cause a disruption between fan bases. They want to call because you think about it, everything is about causing a war. They're causing war between different fan bases. So that's why I don't entertain it. Because I bet you if I was to just be curious and watch those videos, it's gonna have you're gonna have flame wars in the comment section. You're gonna have flame wars in the comment section. People, because some people take these damn fictional characters serious. I'm just gonna keep it a buck, man. Even though we know these characters are fictional, but some people take those characters serious, man. They will stab somebody over those characters, man. It may sound far-fetched and outlandish, but it's true. People will unalive somebody over these damn fictional characters. It's like that with football teams. You got grown men getting into fist fights and shootings over these football teams. Get all emotional over their favorite player. I'd be like, it's a psyop. It's a psyop. That's something I just wanted to talk about, because I know I've been seeing a lot of that on my feed on YouTube. these versus videos. I don't entertain that, man. I don't entertain that bullshit, you know, because I always told people, I said, you're gonna pick the character that's your favorite anyway. And if you was writing a narrative, you're gonna make your favorite character win always. That's just human nature, because we all have favorites. You're gonna be biased towards your favorite character. Say like say, man, Superman will Goku will destroy Superman. Some Superman fans gonna come with their facts and they're gonna be biased towards Superman. They're gonna say, man, Goku, man, Superman will destroy Goku. Everybody have their favorite character, man. I be insulted, man. I ain't gonna lie, I see it this way, man. A lot of new anime fans, they disrespect Dragon Ball Z. That's what I see. A lot of these Gen Z anime fans, they disrespect Dragon Ball Z. They be pitting Goku up against characters from Demon Slayer, My Hero Academy. Man, get the hell out of here, man. You really? Man, Krillin himself will solo some of these anime universes that y'all pit Dragon Ball Z up against. Krillin, and we know Krillin is like he's the strongest human character. Man, even Yamcha, man, Yamcha will, man, pit Yamcha up against any character from My Hero Academia or any other new age anime. Man, Yamcha will solo them, and he's one of the weakest characters of the Z Fighters. Yamcha, he's the butt of the joke of the Z Fighters. He's the butt of the joke of the Z Fighters. Come on now, that's disrespect. Like I said, yeah. If it wasn't for Dragon Ball Z, which is the OG, you won't have these new age. You won't have Naruto. If it wasn't for Dragon Ball Z existing, you won't have One Piece. You won't have Naruto. You won't have Bleach. You won't have My Hero Academia. You won't have Demon Slayer, Black Clover, or whatever new age anime you got out there. And that's real talk. But you got a lot of younger anime fans, they disrespect Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I'm just keeping it real. I noticed I've been seeing that for the past few years, like the last 5, 6 years, probably longer than that. But I noticed that they disrespect Dragon Ball Z. Y'all better pitch some respect on Toriyama name. Rest in peace, man. Wherever your spirit went, Toriyama, I hope you're dwelling in peace. Well, I don't know what was your belief system. I don't know if you was a Buddhist or the Shinto, because that's like the man two popular beliefs in Japan is Buddhism and Shinto, and that's what the whole anime about Naruto is about. It's about Shinto versus Buddhism. Like the bloodline that Naruto from, they Buddhist, and Sasuke bloodline, they Shinto. They practice Shintoism. Because why you think they attacks like Sasuke attacks, he dealing with the Shinto pantheon. He dealing with Izanagi, Nami, he's dealing with the divine siblings, of the Shinto pantheon. The divine siblings is Amarutsu, Tsukuyomi, and Susanoo. They siblings. They're the children of the divine. They the children of Izanagi and Izanami. They're the children of those two gods. If you read the Japanese mythology, yeah, they had 3 children. Amarutsu is like the sun goddess, and you got Tsukuyomi, he's the moon god. Sometimes he's portrayed as a female, but in most cases he's a male. And Tsukuyomi, because the moon is dealing with the divine, the divine feeling. The moon, that's feminine energy, and the sun is masculine. So you see, they got it reversed. And other mythology, like when it comes to the sun, that's masculine energy, and the moon is feminine energy. But like in Japan, they reverse it. But yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho, yeah, they had the 4 Saint beasts. You had Susaku, you had Seiryu, the blue dragon, you had Gimbu, the black tortoise, you had Byaku, the white tiger. Basically, the 4 Saint beasts, that's just a parody of the 4 archangels, but you got more archangels, but the main 4 archangels like Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Michael. That's the 4 archangels. Yeah, I see it right. Yeah, Raphael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Michael. That's the 4 man archangels, but they got more too. But that's the man. To see those 4, they represent the cardinals, like north, south, east, and west. You know. See, man, a lot of these mythologies and stories, man, they take from the Bible, man. They take from the word of the Most High. But like I say, people believe, they got a right to believe what they believe. Some people even say the Bible takes from the Sumerian text or the Egyptian text. Man, I don't got time for it. You talk about the Anunnaki and all that BS, you know. But anyway, to each his own. But yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho was the great. Yu Yu Hakusho was good too. Yep, I enjoy Yu Yu Hakusho. Open doors in anime. Yeah. Oh yeah. Dragon Ball Z was the flagship that got a lot of millennials into anime. I'm talking about younger millennials that was like around the age of middle school age. I'm talking about most millennials that was in middle school, you know, in a 19 and like 1997 and 1998. Dragon Ball Z was that flagship anime that got them into anime. And you see, Gen Z is lucky. Y'all had to deal with. It's cool to be an anime fan now, man. But Gen Z, you got a lot of people. You got some of these Gen Z content creators. They making money off of anime, doing anime content. You know, going to these comic cons, being influencers. And me and my cousin, we talk about that 2 years ago. Me and my cousin, we was like, man, you know what, cuz these youngsters, man, they living our life. They making money off of the life we supposed to be living. Man, when he told me that, I was like, man, you know what, cuz you're right. You're right. You're right. Because they doing content, man. You know, they influencers. You know, they go on traveling the world, but hey, you know, when it comes to being an influencer, you can't do that forever. Because once you're up, you're gonna come back down. You know. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z was that flagship anime that got a lot of millennials into anime during the Toonami era. During the Toonami era, because I remember I was in 8th grade when I started watching anime. And Dragon Ball Z was the first anime I got into. Then it was Gundam Wing. Then it was Outlaw Star. Then it was the Tenchu series, like Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi Universe. Yeah, that that's got me into anime, man. I mean, that was the good old days, man. Watching Toonami late at night or coming after school, 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock by 4:30, Dragon Ball Z come on. No new episodes. That was the good old days. Hey. Now times has changed. You could stream a whole saga. You could stream a whole season now. That's why I say, man, people today, y'all lucky. Y'all don't really know the struggle that we had to deal with. If we miss an episode of our favorite TV show, we had to hope and pray that they have a rerun or rerun that whole entire season. Sometimes they didn't do that. Sometimes if you miss a episode, you was done for. You was screwed. You had to read the summary. You had to go online and read the summary. And I miss the old internet. That's the old part of the internet I miss. I miss the old part. I miss the old internet. I'm talking about the internet from the late 90s, early 2000s, before social media, before the age of social media. That's when the internet was awesome, before social media, because you had to go to websites to learn things or forums. Now these days, you just could go to YouTube or Instagram, watch a damn YouTube short about to get information. That's to show you how lazy society has become. That's why I say, man, social media, it killed the internet. Social media killed the internet. And I think that's gonna be a whole nother topic for a stream with some talking points. I mean, I got a whole slew of stuff I could talk about, man. Okay, we had an hour and 44 minutes. It's about 7:15. I'm probably gonna wrap this stream up in a few minutes and go get me something to eat because I'm kind of hungry. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog and Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's why I say, man, social media killed the internet, man, because like I remember I was in middle, I want to say I was in high school. Yeah, I was in high school, man. And I remember dial-up, man. I remember we had dial-up internet at our home. Okay, I'm gonna look for it when I when I boot up my PS5. I'm gonna see the request when I boot up my PS5. But yeah, I remember we had dial-up internet. That was torture, man. You had to tie up your phone line to be on a dial-up internet. Now, a lot of Gen Z, y'all don't know about dial-up internet. Some of y'all don't know about that dial-up. That was a struggle, you know. Now we got Wi-Fi, and some will surpass Wi-Fi in the future. I don't know what it's gonna be, but they're gonna probably have something that surpass Wi-Fi in the near future. You know, only time will tell. But yeah, I miss the old internet, man. I remember when I first got into Dragon Ball Z, they used to have these fan Dragon Ball Z sites. They used to have the character profiles. I used to go click on a character and read their profile. They used to have the summary of the arcs, the story arcs, and the movie summary. They used to have pictures. Man, I miss them days. That was the good old days. Man, you had to go to websites and forums to learn about certain things, whether you was into a certain movie, anime. You had to go. They ain't had this social media stuff, man. Now everything you could just find on social media platforms. You know, you got the anime shorts. I mean, that's just show you the attention span of most people is short. It's gonna get so bad, man. Most people gonna have the attention span of a goldfish. That's gonna be scary. If this get out of control, man, most people gonna have the attention span of a damn goldfish. That's something to think about. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad y'all enjoyed the stream about the proletariat. Yeah, will not live a good life, and that's true. Most proletarians will not have a good life. They will not live a good life. You know exactly. Oh, don't. I'm glad you brought that up. I can't stand those videos either, too, bro. Those recap videos, they won't put the name of the anime or manga in the video. They will just title "Boy inherits magical power from an ancient dragon, and he becomes the popular student in high school." They'll describe what it's about, and they will describe what the manga or anime is about, but they won't put the title. You call it them recap videos. I can't stand that shit, bro. That's nothing but AI, and a lot of me using AI programs, to do those videos. But I think some of these AI channels are automated. I think like these could be some generated channels from some type of company that owns a lot of these AI channels on YouTube, and they just put them out there because that's going to be a lot of AI channels going to be taking over content creation. Yeah, and a lot of people hate AI, but they just got to deal with it. They're gonna have to tighten up because it's the future. It's not going anywhere. AI will put up a resistance. It will put up a resistance, and it will fight, and it will keep on fighting. It will not give up. It's gonna get more advanced and advanced until it get a mind of its own, until it becomes Satan. It's gonna become a Satanic being, and it's gonna have its own mind. It's gonna be like eating off of Mass Effect. But yeah, man, to each his own. But yeah, they'll tell you the whole anime arc in an hour on YouTube. Exactly. That's why I say I miss the old internet, man. You had to go research things. You had to go research certain things, man. You couldn't just have it all in one spot. Thank you, social media. You can have all the information in one spot now on social media. What more, man? People use YouTube for the library. Google is the library now. YouTube is the library. Yeah, YouTube is the library. In the video store. I remember like we used to watch videos in biology, like on wildlife. Now, if you want to watch it, you can go on YouTube and watch a video about wildlife, you know. And I won't be surprised if they do that in school. Some of these teachers, they probably like go to YouTube and they tell you what video to type in, and they watch YouTube videos instead of watching a traditional video in a VHS. Man, I used to like that, man. When I was in biology in ninth grade, man, our biology teacher was like, okay, we're gonna watch a video, and he'll have us watch a video, and he'll tell us to write down at least 3 or 5 facts that we learned from the video. And you write down five facts that you learned from the video, and that was and he'll grade it. Man, that was easy. Man, he like it said it was a video about tigers. Okay, we're gonna watch a video about tigers. And what y'all do, watch the 30-minute video and write 5 facts down that you learned from the video in your own words. Man, that was easy. I don't know how it is now because it's been years and years since I've been out of the public food system. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this stream up. I don't want this to drag too long in case somebody might watch the rebroadcast and want to see what I'm talking about. I don't want this to drag to 3-4 hours. That won't make any sense, especially when he got talking point. But anyway, I thank y'all for tuning in. I'll catch y'all on the next one. And like I said, I got learning from this stream. I got so many topics I could talk about. Dealing with proletariats in the working class, because a lot of proletariats, man, they out there struggling, man. And these evil corporations, they don't care. They don't care about the struggle of the proletariat. They only care about making money and getting richer, unfortunately. And that's the hardcore truth.
That's the hardcore truth. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Thank y'all for tuning in to another Millennial Commentator stream. You know, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.